JJ, welcome back to Breakdown.
Welcome back indeed.
We in the outdoors, out on the deck, cool, chilling, enjoying the sunshine. Today is Friday, May 24th, 2024. JJ,
Dad,
today is the birthday of a beautiful soul.
no.
And I want to give a shout out. Trisha, and if you're out there, happy birthday, girl. All right. We're going to break it down, JJ, we're going to talk a little NCAA baseball. We're going to keep it Big Ten versus SEC. A little NCAA baseball. We're going to talk, in addition to that, we're going to talk about litigation.
Okay.
Janelle, you the expert on litigation. Holla at you. We're going to talk about House versus NCAA, and we're going to talk just a little bit of other stuff. But we will start off, JJ, with baseball. You ready?
Yeah, we can talk a little bit of baseball.
Well, the conference tournament is in full bloom right now.
Indeed, it is.
My team, the Backs, are in Fayetteville. They've been kicked out. But the SEC and the Big Ten, how are they doing in baseball right now?
The Big Ten is doing about what they normally do. They have a projected 3 teams making the tournament. It's actually more than normal. They normally get about 2.
That's true.
So they're about average. The SEC though they're pushing for a record.
What's that record?
The ACC got 10 teams in, and there's a lot of projections right now saying that the SEC is going to get 11.
10 is the record from way back when, and the SEC is pushing. SEC, what they have, 14 teams. They're trying to get 11 of their 14 teams in the field of 64.
Yeah, I mean that's what it looks like is going to happen. They have a 5-way tie for 7th place going into the SEC tournament. There was a 5-way tie, and a couple of those teams are solidly in. LSU and Vandy, they're still.
Well, since you started talking about the SEC, let's talk about the SEC first.
Okay.
SEC has 6 teams in the top 25. Those 6 teams are Kentucky, Tennessee, which is number 1, Kentucky is number 2, Texas A&M number 4, Arkansas is number 5, Georgia's 11.
Yep, and
Mississippi State is 15. The top 16 teams gets the host of regional.
Indeed, they do.
I mean, 4 teams will play in 16 different locations.
Yeah.
Tell me, what are the SEC's chances of getting 11 in?
Pretty high. I mean, Alabama and Florida are out of the tournament currently, but Florida has Jack Caglione, and I think if there's any opportunity to get them in, they will get in. And
Tell
I
me
also
about
think Alabama.
Jack Caglione. Tell me about him.
He's a utility man. He's one of the best power hitters in the game. He's one of the best baseball players in the game. But the metrics like the SEC, if you go by RPI or KPI, that the SEC will get 11 in.
Okay, quickly, let's talk about some of the players from various teams. You just mentioned Caglione at Georgia.
His rival at Florida. His rival at Georgia is maybe the potential number 1 pick in the country, outfielder Charlie Condon. He had the record for most home runs in a season. So Georgia, they're projected 8 seed, and they would be hosting their own regional in Athens. Obviously, Arkansas, Hagen Smith, the starting pitcher.
Is here for the Hogs. Hagen Smith. He's probably the best pitcher in the country this year, based on statistics.
Yeah.
But my question, JJ, is his arm getting tired at the most critical time of the year?
Yeah, I mean, he tops out at around 98 miles per hour, and they have been riding him. His last outing wasn't great.
No, he went 2 innings in the SEC tournament, and they didn't want him to go very many innings. But even those 2 innings, he gave up 2 runs in the first inning.
Yes, he did. So,
which is first time he's given up a run to an SEC school in the first inning this entire year. So Arkansas they've lost their last 3 games. They've lost them, JJ.
Yeah.
They're number 5 team in the country right now, but they lost their last 3 games.
Yeah, after Hagen Smith, it gets real shallow. I mean, they have a lot of good players, no great players after Hagen Smith.
Okay, but I will say this: their pitching staff, even after Hagen Smith
is one of the best.
is one of the best.
Yeah.
Their problem is what?
Well, I mean, hitting. I mean,
They
defense is not defense.
they can't hit.
Yeah.
They cannot hit. But Kentucky, Tennessee, Texas A&M, they can hit.
Yes.
They can hit.
Yeah, so can LSU. They got Tommy White.
I love Tommy White as a player.
I also wanted to mention, he's a little guy. He reminds me of Dustin Pedroia from the Red Sox. He's a little. I mean, his strike zone is probably an advantage for him because it's so small. But he sees it well and he can rake.
You know who he reminds me of?
Ooh.
One of my father's favorite baseball player. Used to flap his wing. My daddy said he was a chicken wing.
Okay, who was that?
Joe Morgan.
Okay.
Joe Morgan up to the plate, hold that bat, and he's flapping his wing. He's flapping his arm like that when he's holding the bat. But Joe Morgan could hit that ball, and
Rest in peace to Joe Morgan.
and Tommy White can hit that ball.
And the other guy that we should talk about is probably the pitcher for Tennessee, Drew Beam. Obviously, his last name is Beam. He's gonna go to Tennessee. It just fits.
Why not Kentucky?
Well, because I think Jim Beam is
a Tennessee Swiss whiskey?
well, I know Jack Daniels is Tennessee. I thought Jim Beam was too, but you know what?
I don't know.
I think bourbon is Kentucky. I think Jim Beam is a bourbon. You know what? He maybe should have went to Kentucky. You're right about that. But that's enough about the SEC.
Big Ten.
We can talk about the Big Ten. They have
Tell me about the Big Ten.
Nebraska is the best team in the Big Ten, but Indiana has the best in-conference record. Nebraska is going to get in pretty much regardless. They have Ohio State today. Indiana and Illinois are the other teams that are projected to make the tournament.
Okay.
Okay.
Will they do some damage? How far? If Nebraska is the best. Can Nebraska make it to Omaha? Eight teams will make it to Omaha.
I don't foresee that coming from Nebraska, but it depends on the regional. It depends on, you get lucky, you get hot. I mean, I didn't think Mississippi was gonna win, was gonna make it as far as they did when they did.
Okay.
Mississippi State either, honestly.
They won it all.
Yeah, so
it can happen.
It can absolutely happen. So
it can happen.
But the last time it happened for the Big Ten it's been a while.
Michigan made it to the.
They made it to the
Omaha.
championship.
Yeah, that's right.
They won a game.
In the championship.
And then they didn't. And then But when's the last time a Big Ten team won the championship?
Oh man, have they ever?
Yeah, Michigan won one in like the 40s or 50s or something like that. I know that.
Does that count?
I mean, if Michigan can't count their wins from the 40s and the 50s, don't tell Michigan football fans because they would be livid with that. They got to count the pre World War II, pre Korean War wins. But we'll revisit baseball later in the season.
When 8 teams make it to Omaha, then we'll come back to the baseball.
We will come back and we will reconvene there. But there's something that's been big in the news that's going to impact not just baseball, but pretty much every single sport on campus.
What you talking about? What you talking about, JJ?
Well, you tell me. Something around in the $2.77 billion range.
Ooh, it sounds like you talking about House versus the NCAA.
Yep.
Litigation.
Yeah.
Janelle, we need your help on this litigation. You licensed to practice law in Missouri? Help us out. JJ, tell us about the House versus NCAA. It's a proposed $2.77 billion. We didn't say million. We said $1 billion settlement payout over the next 10 years. Tell us about it.
Yeah, I can't remember the genesis of it, but it's called House. It's not anything to do with the House
House representative.
House representative, or anything like that. It's just the guy's last name, the guy who filed the claim. But he, I mean, he's filed a class action lawsuit, seeking back pay for money owed.
For athletes who were denied NIL compensation dating back to 2016.
Yeah.
So going back to 2016, we're talking 2.77, give or take a few, $billion to be paid out to these athletes over 10-year period. The average athlete, JJ, will get $180,000. That is $18,000 per year. It just be paid out over 10 years. Because they're saying it's 10 to 15,000 athletes impacted, plaintiffs. And so if we assume that it's 15,000, it would be 18,000 per year over 10 years. Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad. Not great, but not bad. So JJ, who win in this if this settlement comes to fruition? Because it's not
And
guaranteed it's going to happen.
it's not guaranteed, but the Power Five, they all acquiesce to it. SEC and the Big Ten, I think, were the last to do so. But they recently, I think they also did. So the reason that they settled is because if that went to court, it would be a factors of 10 of that amount. I mean, it
They
might
would have
be
lost
30 billion or something like that.
and if that had gone to court, if you were plaintiff and you let it go to court, and you win, you couldn't get paid because they couldn't have that kind of money.
No, yeah.
So the chances are it's going to get settled. All the NCAA has agreed to it so far, but JJ, that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Absolutely it is.
There's going to be a ripple effect.
It's going to be a huge ripple effect. It's going to impact athletic departments for every single conference. Most notably, like, the ACC and the Big East and like the basketball playing conferences, because they are going to have to pay more because of the way the NCAA gets their money. They don't make a cent from college football. That's something separate.
So the college playoff, the NCAA didn't profit from it.
Of course, they profit from athletes, but that's going to be a separate lawsuit that's going to be coming.
Okay.
Stay tuned for that. But the NCAA, the money that the revenue that they generate, pretty much comes from the men's and women's basketball tournaments, specifically the men's basketball tournament. That's where they get most of their money and their revenue, and that's where they're going to have to utilize to pay this money back.
Okay. Well, JJ, this is the way that the money is going to be paid. As far as the schools, the compensation, the distribution that the NCAA gives to the school, they're going to reduce that compensation. Significant reductions. And in addition to that, this settlement is going to allow the schools to pay directly, not through an NIL deal, but to pay directly, to pay athletes up to, and it's not 100% yet, up to around $22 million per year for athletic that the schools can pay directly without going through an NIL collective. And the NIL collective is not going to go away. Athletes going to be making some money, JJ.
Yeah, I mean they'll make a little bit, but I don't know exactly how much they're gonna make.
No one knows.
What we do know is that coaches that just signed their extensions currently, like in this past offseason, they are the big winners because coaches' salaries are gonna go down. What else is gonna go down?
Agreed.
All these fancy new facilities that you see on college campuses that you don't really see. I mean, you have nicer facilities on the college level than you do at the D1 Power 5 college level, I should say, than you do in the NBA and the NFL because of the way that the NCAA has to, the way that they have to balance their books and they have to have show zero profit. They have to redistribute that money and reinvest it. And since it wasn't going to the players, it's going to the facilities, it was going to the coaches, and it's not going to be going to them as much anymore.
Yeah. I don't know even what to start, but starting in 2026 is when the athletes can get paid directly by the schools, not 2025 as I had initially thought. But it's starting in 2026, they're going to get paid. And it's not just paying football players, basketball players, it could be others. JJ, is this going to create specialty among the schools in various sports? Some already exist, but will this?
Yeah, you're not going to have the Ohio States and the Michigans and the Stanfords. You're not going to have the money to invest in programs that they normally did. You're going to have to pick and choose.
How many athletic programs does Ohio State have?
They have 42, but they will not have that many by 2025. They're going to have to drastically reduce the numbers of the non-revenue generating sports. You're gonna have to, and when it comes to even when it comes to the revenue generating sports, you're gonna have to pick and choose if you want to be a basketball school or a football school. If you're outside of the Power 2 structure, if you're not in the SEC or Big Ten, for example, if you're a Kansas, if you're a Louisville, if you're, obviously like a Villanova who has football, but it's not on the 1A level; it's on the FCS level. I mean, you're gonna basically do the same thing that Gonzaga did, and you're going to allocate all your funds, to basketball is what you're going to have to do.
So some schools are going to be specializing in certain sports.
Absolutely, especially schools that aren't in the Big Ten and SEC.
JJ, this settlement, if it goes through and all, who are the winners and who are the losers? Well, we know the players are the losers. The players going back.
They would be the winners if they got the money.
I'm sorry, I meant the winners. They're the winners, but who are the other winners and losers? Because I got an idea of a couple of winners that I know of.
The losers are definitely the ACC and the Big East because, like I said, the revenue is that they're basing it on is largely based on the results of what you do in the NCAA tournament because that's where the revenue is generated from initially. So schools that are conferences that are basketball conferences are gonna pay. Like for instance, they're gonna have to pay more than the SEC in the Big Ten when it comes to their payouts, just because they've had more success in the NCAA tournament. It's going to be a double-edged sword, but they don't have enough football success to actually generate revenue for the athletic department. So I think basketball-focused conferences are going to be losers. I also think if you're an Olympic athlete, get used to intramural sports being the way of the future, because things are gonna change.
I'm going to say the winners, in addition to the athletes, SEC, Big Ten. And
they're going to be the winners no matter what the structure is my guess. They're making sure of that.
But one reason I say that is because it's not the Power 5 conference who are paying this. The Group of 5 is paying it. The FCS schools are paying it. I mean, like Grand Valley. I mean, when I say paying it, their distribution from the NCAA, because they are NCAA schools, is going to be reduced.
Yeah.
So all of these small schools that are NCAA schools, they are paying a huge price because all of this is for back pay for athletes. And these schools probably won't be paying any athletes back pay. I can't imagine Grand Valley State paying any athletes some back pay because of this settlement.
Yeah.
But they still going to get their distribution reduced by the NCAA.
Yeah, it's going to be a crazy, crazy time. We're still waiting for everything to shake out, but you know who else is going to be a loser? The Barry Alvarez's of the world, the former athletic directors that were just good old boy football coaches or basketball coaches that had success, that were just placed in figurehead roles like Bo Schembechler and all of that. Now you're going to have to actually balance your budget. You're going to have to actually be able to analyze that data. You're going to have general managers as it pertains to your athletic departments going forward. So
in the old days, we had coaches, when they quit coaching, they become the athletic director. Frank Broyle at Arkansas. You mentioned Alvarez. All of these things are not going to happen anymore.
No. It's not going to happen anymore. It's going to go to the general manager model the way that they have in the NBA and NFL.
JJ, any more on the House versus NCAA you want to talk about?
I mean, there's a lot to talk about, but
for sure
we'll be revisiting this in the future. But as of right now,
can we talk about one more thing before we get out of here?
Yeah, we can talk about one more thing.
Let's talk about Jaden and
Rashada.
Okay. Versus the University of Florida. This isn't a quarterback. It was an ESPN 30 player. He was ranked the 31st overall player in the 23 recruiting class.
Be ESPN, he was a 5-star.
Yep. He's suing the University of Florida.
Yeah, he's currently at the University of Georgia.
Yes, he is. He is. He was at Arizona State last year. So, but why is he suing the University of Florida? Tell me why.
Well, he's alleging that Florida promised him $1 million as part of his $1 million signing bonus.
Yeah, upon signing, if he signed his commitment.
And about maybe $7 million more over the course of his career there.
Actually, it was $13 million.
Oh yeah, $13 million. I can't remember how much it was, but
a million here, a million there. What's a million here, a million? But go ahead.
But upon his signing, he was supposed to get $1 million, and when he did not get that, he's alleging that his opportunities elsewhere, he no longer felt comfortable committing to Florida when they didn't follow through with their commitment. But everywhere else that he had been looking at as far as being a recruit, they had already taken their quarterback, so that opportunity cost him $1 million. So he had to settle on going to Arizona State. He was looking at Miami.
Actually, he committed to Miami, and Miami had promised him 9.5 million. He committed to Miami before committing to Florida. He flipped from Miami and then to Florida because Florida promised him, according to him, 13.8 million. And then when that didn't come through, then he went to Arizona State. JJ, is he going to win this lawsuit?
That's a good question. I mean, that's going to come down to what he can prove. If he has any text messages, that would be beneficial. But if everything was on via the phone, then it might become a he said, he said, she said. So,
Okay.
I mean, we don't know. I've heard different lawyers say different things, but
Okay. It's interesting to see what happens because this is the first time ever a player has sued a school or a collective because of an NIL payment not being not coming to fruition. That was one that was promised. But DJ, it's cool. The weather's nice here in Michigan, man. Outside, I love the outside. How you liking it, JJ?
I'll take it over 6 months ago.
Okay. Anything else we got to talk about on our video today?
No, it's been more than 20 minutes. I think we can get on out of here.
WPS.
Yeah, go all the way to Omaha.
We out.